Well, each year during the Super Bowl, companies are looking to make a big splash with very memorable ads. We've already seen a few released ahead of Sunday's game, including one with some familiar faces.
That's messy.
Wait a minute, Leo? We go way back.
Say it's me that you adore. And then, darling, tell me when.
Dan the man.
So for a 30-second ad spot during this year's Super Bowl, Ad Age reports companies will have to shell out a whopping $7 million. Wow, that price has risen dramatically since 1967, when it cost around $40,000. And that doesn't even include the cost of production or paying celebrities to star in those commercials. But some ads have had an impact on consumers and the company's bottom line, like Wendy's Where's the Beef spot.
Love that.
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef?
Classic.
Yeah.
Forbes reports after the ad aired, the Where's the Beef campaign led Wendy's to a reported 31% increase in annual revenue. So is it worth it for companies to deal out the dough in hopes of seeing a return on their investment? Zoë Ruderman is here with us in Studio 57 to answer that question. She's the Chief Content Officer for Adweek. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So what does the data show?
It's worth it. That's what the data shows. If the spot is great, if the campaign is smart, if it's thinking about the audience it's reaching, if it is taking into account pop culture references, if it's using celebrities for a good reason and not just to have celebrities for the sake of famous faces, they can work. Just as you mentioned, we see that the return on investment is there. It's also great for awareness. Keep in mind, this is one of the only remaining moments on television that isn't fragmented. So last year it was 115 million people who tuned in. They're watching it live. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen with award shows as much anymore, certainly not with TV shows. Media consumption is really fragmented, and this is one of the last ones, certainly of that scale, where everyone is tuning in. And unlike other moments where you might not be looking at the ads, you want to fast forward, most people, many people, I'm speaking for myself, are tuning in for the ads as much as they are for the game itself.
Yeah, I would think, there's a lot of people tuning in for the ads and the halftime show and not the game.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And the food, of course.
Yeah, the food as well. And so you sort of answered my next question, which was why, when there are so many huge events that happen all the time, has the Super Bowl remained kind of the Super Bowl of advertising?
Absolutely. So we're seeing that with award shows, the numbers are going down. So even these shows that used to be appointment viewing, the numbers for the most part are going down, and the audience expects these big reveals, these big moments. So this is the time. It's very much like an are you in or are you out with brands. We talk about this at the Adweek office, like who's in, who's out, who's going to surprise us, and especially those ones that make their debuts at the Super Bowl. There's a lot of chatter around that, and it's not just the 30 seconds in the game. Now there's the whole lead up. There's the reveal. So Verizon, for example, this morning just dropped an Instagram that was teasing, like, is Beyonce going to be in a spot?
Wow.
What's going to happen? So if you're going to spend $7 to $10 million for 30 seconds, which is just wild to think about, it's not just, oh, we did our 30 seconds, then we go quiet. It's the lead up. It's what's happening on social media. It's what's happening afterwards.
So the question I have, too, is it's not just you pay the $7 million for 30 seconds, but you pay, to get all those stars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was that, a Michelob Ultra commercial?
Yeah.
Right? That's a lot of money, too.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, and I may be old, and I may be like a fuddy-duddy here, but I sort of think back to what has stuck with me all these years. When I don't eat at McDonald's really anymore, but if I think about McDonald's, I go to all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed, or plop, plop, fizz, fizz, Alka-Seltzer. That has stayed with me forever. When I see Alka-Seltzer in a pharmacy, that jingle goes through my head. That didn't cost a lot to do that, and it's lasted all these years. Why are companies increasingly spending big, not just for the ad time, but to produce them?
But for the talent as well. Yeah, and it can be millions of dollars for the talent. And what we're seeing is, whereas it used to be 1 or 2 celebrities in a spot, Paramount Plus has something like 11 or 12 celebrities in their spot. So you question, at what point are there diminishing returns? But I'm with you. Some of the spots that I remember, it's not because there was big talent. What we're seeing is that there's recognition immediately. And especially if you're trying to reach a younger audience and connect with them, and also, like, get the chatter going on TikTok and on social platforms, you need the celebrity there. So a lot of brands are seeing that there is payoff with celebrity talent.
If you have a bad ad, does it make a difference?
Let's
everyone's
remember.
watching.
Do we even remember even the bad ones?
Well, I don't want to say this actress's name because I feel bad, but I feel like it was a Super Bowl, but it was like there was an ad about like. It was like makeup primer, and she was like, everything was getting stuck to her. Do you remember the ad that I'm talking about? And I was like, why would I buy that product? That sounds like a horrible thing to happen to you.
Well, I'm thinking of a certain celebrity. Let's say her name rhymes with Schmardashian.
Schmenner.
It wasn't Super Bowl, but remember the Pepsi.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
the Black Lives Matter. That was terrible.
But so something like that, like it can have real negative impact. And we certainly saw, last year with Budweiser, there was a lot of backlash to what they did. So there's risk here, and it's not like you get a refund if it didn't work. So there's no calling them up and saying, can I get my $7 million
Zoe,
back?
really quickly, is the risk also that you will remember the ad but not know what the product is?
Absolutely. That's a really good point. So if you're spending all this money, even if you have an emotional reaction or you're on Twitter talking about it, if you don't connect it with what the brand is, you could argue that that brand has failed. And they didn't, they did work, but not for themselves.
And so is that good enough just to make the connection, or do you also have to make a purchase to make it a success?
Well, I think the brand would say they want to see a purchase to happen, but keep in mind some of it is awareness. So, for example, Etsy is going to be in the Super Bowl for the first time this year. Some of that might be awareness. They're trying to get the word out that they're a gifting platform, that they're, use us for the holidays, use us for Mother's Day. If you are letting people know this is something you can think of us for, it's not like Pepsi where everyone's like, I know what they are, I know where to get it. This might be an awareness play.
Oh,
that makes a lot of sense.
Remember, it was Pepsi with Cindy Crawford.
Oh, of course.
Was that? I definitely bought a lot of Pepsi after that.
Yeah, there you go.
Cedric, you know what I'm talking about, baby. Zoë Ruderman, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.